All right. Hey there, everybody. Christopher Franks with Texas West Capital coming at you live here on Friday, the 19th of May, 2023, from just north of Houston, Texas on Lake Conroe. Great to have you all checking in. Let me see here. Let me get that back over here. Okay, I think we got things set up. Hopefully, you guys can hear me. It seems like I always have to check these days to make sure it's going on there. I don't see any of y'all over here yelling that you can't hear me, so I think we're good, right? So good to see you guys checking in. I see Brian's here already. Data, Bamboo, Martin, good to see you guys. We've got a guest today, of course. We've got Fibble Swanee. He'll be in here with us. And so he'll talk about, what we talk about, things we go. We'll look at, we'll see how he's doing with, with his idea that maybe we're going to hit that 40 level sometime in June. We'll see if that's changed any. What else we got going on? We've got the debt ceiling stuff going on. By the title of this, I don't believe again that we'll default on it. This is mostly just kind of posturing and whatnot with what's it called, politics, right? Posturing with politics. So everybody's in there trying to get what they want to get. Everybody's going to say, "Oh, the other side isn't trying," but really, neither side is really trying. And they're just going to keep pushing until the last second, and then they kind of get to it. So, of course, we saw then this morning, just recently, we got that bump up in Bitcoin and then the drop back down and then the rally back up now. And if we look at the dollar futures there, I posted a chart there on Twitter, we can see that there's some pretty heavy shorting going on the 15 minutes. So, again, the idea is likely that, at least I believe that we're going to hit, that we're going to have negotiations are going to go just fine. Now, that doesn't mean everything's all honky-dory, just fantastic. The markets can still suffer because they just kind of push this out so long, right? But ultimately, I don't see a reason to think that really that we're going to default at this point. I think we get it, and things just continue doing what they're doing. Let me see here. Oh, let me get you guys here real quick. You see this little code down here at the bottom, this CD or Elite CDMM. Now you can use that over here at TexasWest.capital, and that is our membership site now. And I'm just going to kind of move this over here and make it bigger on your screen there. But anyway, yeah, you can come on there and just go to the join now. It'll bring you down here. We've got a couple of different, as we bring in, we've got different levels. We're kind of redoing everything the way we do it. These will be coming in soon, but for right now, you can get, again, it's normally $199 a month. With that code, you can get it for $50 a month for 3 months. And then after that, it'll revert to the normal price, but you can cancel at any time, guys. Cancel your first month, cancel your second, your third month, whatever you want to do. Again, I'm on this drive this year to really help as many people as possible become more competent, more consistently profitable traders. So I'm doing what I can. I'm making things accessible for as many people as possible. But remember, guys, when it comes to learning something, there are two things you have to have, okay? You have to have. One is that you have, whoops, sorry about that. Be back on there. One is that you have to be coachable. And the other is that once you're coachable, you then have to follow through. You have to do those things that are required. Now, it looks like, for whatever reason, it looks like we just dropped Fibbo here. So I'm going to give him another link, see if he can get in here. We had an issue one time. We'll see if we have the issue still again. But yeah, so here's the thing, guys. No matter what you're paying, no matter what you're doing, you have to be coachable. You have to be. There's no two ways about it. I can do everything, all day long, except force you to do the things you have to do and to listen. And a lot of that, what I mean by coachable, it means you have to take a step back and go, well, maybe I'm not as maybe I'm not as good as I think I am. Maybe there's room for me to learn. Maybe I don't know what I think I know, or at least not to the degree that I need to know it. So these are the things that you have to kind of recognize with that, okay? If you can't do that, guys, don't spend money on anything because it's not going to work for you. And you're just going to leave and be like, oh, it didn't work. It was terrible. It was a waste and all that. Um, you know, you don't want to put yourself in that situation, right? Let me see here. Why are we having trouble? Fibbo was on with me a minute ago, and for some reason, he just got dropped again. And let me see here. Give me just 1 minute here, guys. Let me see if I can figure out why he's getting dropped on that. Gosh, oh whiz. Jeez, oh whiz. It's just crazy. I might have changed to a new streamer at this rate. Let me see. Try. I don't know what's going on here. Craziness. Well, hopefully we'll get Fibbo on here, guys. If not, maybe he'll join in at least in the chat. I do apologize, guys. I don't know what's going on with this. Why it's dropping him when he goes into it. Like I said, just give me 1 second here, guys. Sorry about this. Let's see here. Try to look this up real quick. Man, oh man. It's not letting him join in. Like I said, let me see if we can get him in the chat at least. And I'll see if I can this figured out here. All right, let's see here. Good times. Jeez, oh whiz. Well, I'm going to just send him this here real quick. There's a link there. Hopefully we can figure out what's going on here. I do apologize, guys. I hate that this is happening. I don't really know what the issue is with it, unfortunately. Like I said, he was on when we were sitting backstage here before we went live, and then now for whatever reason, it's just not. Man, it's just not coming in. I don't know why. Okay. So, yeah. So I asked him to join in the chat anyway. This just sucks. It's not, man, it's not me. He says some younger folks may make fun of boomers. What'd you say? And boomers and computers. Yeah, no, it's not me. I mean, it's real simple. I give him the link. He joins the link. He's on, and he was on, and then we went live and he was on no longer. And now when he's trying to get on, it's just giving him this swirling thing. It won't allow him to actually connect. So, man, this really kind of sucks. So anyway, okay, well, we'll kind of get going on here. If any of y'all happen to know, I'm using Restream right now. So if you happen to know what's going on and you can put some information there in the chat, I'd love to do it. Then we can pull them up here with us. But absolutely weird that it keeps doing this when he does join in. I think we just need to blame it on Fibbo, right? We'll say he's the boomer here. It's his issue. Yeah. So I don't know. Okay. We'll just go. It's Fibbo for sure. All right, guys. Well, I do apologize. Apparently, it doesn't look like we're going to be able to get Fibbo on here. I don't know what the issue is on this, honestly. So we're going to go ahead and jump on here, guys, and see if we can go ahead and go and see what it goes. I would love to restart it, but I'm afraid if I restart it, it starts a whole new thing, right? It doesn't actually like come up with the same one. Am I right there? Anybody tell me? Man, oh man. Okay. Anyway, so we'll jump on here, guys. Listen, let me pull up my charts here. I do apologize. We'll try and get this figured out. This makes no sense at all with it, right? So hey there, let me see who's showing up here. We've got Wazobia Dollars is here. Deadly123, good to see you guys. Fibbo is in the chat, guys. Daniel, what's up? He says dollar starts the dump today. It looks like it may be. I posted something the other day on Twitter with this kind of parabolic move up on the 4 hour. I mean, we were basically going vertical. Stokes were over, stochastic RSI and RSI were overbought. Even on the daily, stochastic was up there. Had potentially a little bit more room, but it did fall on down through that. So we'll see if we can come on down, you know. Let me see here. Who else showed up here? Mark's here. What's going on? Michael Johnson. Good to see you, Baltazar. Data. Lewis Winthorpe the third. I can't even say it. Let me see here. Good to see you checking in. He says he's usually lurking, but good to see you there as always. Andrew Bennett here as well. Diego, you're here as well, I see. So listen, guys, I posted this this chart on what's it called? On Twitter. That's what it's called, Twitter. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Let me see. All right. So, Raw Paul, excuse me. Come on, allow in. And we'll get this showing up here. There it is. All right. So, Raw Paul kind of posted this this chart here, right? And I've been talking lately. We talked about retail. That retail had, you know, they were really offsides. I talked about this the other day, probably the other stream or the stream before. How far offsides retail was, right? Short. They were like at this level. They were net short at a greater point than they've been at any time since before 1990, right? And like significantly. So we've got that. And then Raw Paul shows this, the biggest speculative short in the history of bond futures markets. Look at this. Equity markets near record short too. Guys, this should be screaming to you that if you're short, you're at this point probably in the wrong direction. Doesn't mean it can't go a little bit lower, but what it's telling you is when you get that far off sides, it's telling you, listen, it's going to go usually the other way, right? This was one of the things when I called that bottom in the dollar back in January of 2021. One of the big factors we were looking at was the fact that the market was like 90 somewhat percent short. And I told you the same thing back then. I said, when the market is that far off sides, it tends to punish those who are off sides. But it's at the extremes that retail gets really excited, right? It's at the extremes. It's the FOMO up top or the bearishness below. They can't stop buying at the top. They can't stop shorting down at the low, right? Or staying out of the market. And in this case, you know, shorting. And, you know, it just becomes liquidity to make a move. So, you know, again, just absolute craziness, I think, if you're going to stay in shorts at this point. You know, of course, there's no guarantee with anything, in trading, except that you're going to lose money at some point. But I don't know, guys. I don't know. Why would you want to be short when everybody and their dog is short in whatever you're in? Or, you know, when it's the other way, why would you want to be long when everybody and their dog was long, right? Again, when you're trading, you should be trying to sell into strength and buy into weakness, right? That way you're not chasing price one way or the other. So Baltazar says short squeeze rocket. I don't know, possibly, yeah. So I'm really watching it again, guys. We're getting this a lot. So there's a lot offsides, and then we've got the S&P just breaking out to a new high here, right? So let me kind of pull up that chart here real quick. Let's see, S&P, where are you at? Yeah, there we go. Let me pull that up for you guys. Crowded trade never ends well. That's right. Or at least I don't remember the last time it's ever actually ended well. So, yeah, you know, it's just something you have to keep in mind, I think, you know, when you're doing that. You have to. If you're just blindly going in and you have no clue where everybody else is at that time or where the majority is at that time, and they're this far off sides, I think you're just asking to lose money, right? So here's what we're looking at with the S&P. So I've got the same kind of still got. Remember, we were looking at the idea of this kind of barrier triangle here, right? And so we got this breakout finally here. Today we're pulling back a little bit, but we're going to look to hold in this previous resistance should hold as support is what we're looking for here. And we'll look for that rally up, right? Now that gives us a minimum wave 3 expected target up here at around 48.71 and a quarter. Now along the way, the big thing is we want to get above this mid-August swing high. I keep talking about it's been talking about this for months. The Dow came, broke out above it months back, and we've been waiting for the NASDAQ and the S&P to do the same. The S&P, of course, is nearing that right now. That's 43.27 and a half. Again, if we get that, it looks like we have an ABC down. And so, but once again, this whole thing is that could be like, a wave 4 here and done because it's an ABC, or it could be the start. It could be a flat. So ABC down, and then we get ABC up near the all-time high. And then we get 5 more waves back down to this low over here, to this October low, or a little bit lower. Could be a triangle. Since if it's a wave 4, it could be a triangle, right? So ABC down is just wave A. And you'll get ABC up for wave B, and then C, and then D, and then E, and then you'd break out. I mean, that would drive people nuts, right? All that sideways. Everybody's looking. See, here's the problem. When you're a retail trader, you tend to look for all these long-term targets, right? These long-term forecasts. And when you're going sideways, all you're looking at is that long-term forecast. You're not paying attention to what's actually going on locally. And so you try and get in, you get stopped out. You try to get in again, you get stopped out. You try to get in the other way, you get stopped out, right? Chop is a pain in the rear end, guys, especially if you're not sure what you're doing. And you start being sure what you're doing by zooming into a smaller time frame and seeing, are you going sideways? If you're going sideways, pay attention to the range. Why are you jumping in the middle of the range? Well, it looks good on some other time frame. I don't care. It's in the middle of a range. You never enter in the middle of a range. I'm going to keep saying that. Just because the odds of you being successful are diminished significantly, if so. So yeah, I mean, again, I think we're looking good right now. This is the 12-hour. The daily, you can see here, Stochh RSI is just breaking out and overbought. RSI has room. We're above the daily pivot here. Again, above all this, long-term resistance here. Months and months and months. But weekly, we're above the weekly pivot. We broke out, retested as support, and now we're breaking out above the previous resistance. That's usually what we look for. If we ever break out and pull back, it's not really the pivot. It's the extension above the pivot that you're looking to get above. And so we're doing that now. We want to close above that. Monthly has still a ton of room there to go as well. Look at this monthly candle. Now, obviously, there's still going to be another week or so left in this month after today, but look at that. Drop back, gained. And why wouldn't you think it would gain support here? Look at what you have, guys. Look at all this resistance right here, months and months and months. Why would you not expect that to hold this support and give it some juice? I mean, if you look at this, you go, oh yeah, it should fall down lower. I don't think you're doing it correctly. I mean, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4. You got 4 months of support in that same area, and then you finally break out. And the previous one before it comes back, it retests as support and pops up and goes higher. It just doesn't make sense unless you're being emotional. Why you wouldn't think your first thought is not, oh, well, that's going to hold this support. People become so caught up in their feelings, in their thoughts, their beliefs, that it just, that's what happens, right? I mean, you get caught up and then you don't pay attention. Now let me see here. Now Fibbo says he's here. I've got a black screen though. Let me see if I can pull him up here, guys. Let's see. We got a black screen. I don't even know if we can hear you, Fibbo. Speak with us, man. Let me see if we can even hear you speaking. I don't hear anything. What is going on, man? This is so crazy. Is it not, guys? Are we not all just like, wow, this is crazy? This is so stupid. Let me see here. God dog it. Yeah, and I can't even get up his charts he's got on there either. I can't see them. Just black screens is all I'm getting. It is crazy, isn't it, Aeroquin? I don't know what's going on, man. He was finally able to get in, and now this. Um, and the fact is, honestly, there really aren't a lot of things I can even do back here. There's just there's none of this. Oh, you can do all these different things to try and make it work. It's like, here, show him or don't show him. On there. That is so odd. I don't know why we had this problem all of a sudden. You just have to put up with me. Hey there, name Mr. Wilkes. What software are you using so I can avoid it? Yeah, I know, right? It's Restream. It's Restream, and we've never had this issue until just that one episode there we had with Fibbo, and now with this one for whatever reason. So I don't know. Let me kind of shut him off there. I don't know if maybe he'll. Let me remove him and see if he can get back on, and we'll see if we can get it. I'll keep watching here, guys. If he can get on, we're going to pop him up on there, okay? So yeah, so here's where we are with what we're looking at here. And so unless we're breaking down through this all this support here, guys, from months and months, unless we're breaking down through that, should be heading up higher, right? No, it's not the same way that Scott had. Scott was using Yardley or something like Yardy. I might go to that, guys. I may go to that. If we continue to have this issue today, I'll probably try out that one next week and just work with that. And I don't know. I know Fibbo's pretty busy, but if he can't get in there, then maybe maybe he'll be willing to come on next week and try again. He sent me a little picture here. He says he can see and hear me when he's in there. I just can't get him through on this end for whatever reason. Oh, what a freaking pain, really. I put on this. I posted this not too long ago, guys, right? And so what do we have here? Well, what I did was I looked back and so I've talked about different things that usually indicate that the bear market's over and the bull market's begun, right? So this is just another way of looking at it. I've pulled on the Ichimoku cloud here. Like I said, Ichimoku cloud, we've got this, what is this? This is the 20 moving average here. And so generally what happens is you make your low, right? And then you jump up, you break up above the 20, okay? So you make a low, you rally and close back above the 20. That's 2. Wave 3 is, or phase 3 is that you retest as support or you pull away. Pull away when you're pulling away from that is showing strength, right? So either you retest it or you pull away is your third point. And then your fourth point is where you rally into the top of the cloud. Now, this one right here back in 2012 was only a 50% rally. Okay, but again, things were different then a lot. This was still it was still very new. Very few people had it, right? And you start maturing as you're going up here, and all of a sudden, it's actually this 61.8%, 61.8 is about what you're rallying. Okay, and so this is the what we see that happens constantly, right? So if you're going to be bearish, right? I don't get it. I don't get it, okay? You see the same things that happen at every single time prior, right? And every time it's the same thing, right? You've got like this year-long decline, basically, especially as we start getting here to 2015, right? You got a bear market for a year. You got a bear market for a year. You get a bear market for a year, right? I don't... Everything continues right now to happen in the same way it's happened at every time previously. And on top of that, we get all these same things. Other things here. The as we talked about, the RSI, right? Every time the RSI dips into oversold, it indicates that your bottoming process is in, right? So over here, the timing, there wasn't enough time before it, so it didn't get to it. But once you get to 2015 here, you dip below. I'm sorry, this is RSI, not Stochastic RSI. RSI. You dip below here on the weekly, right? On the weekly. and you break back up. That was the low, right? Here in 2018, again, you dipped it back down, broke back out, right? This time, a little bit different because you did it over here in June, and then you printed bullish divergence into your November low. And I mean, it just, to me, I think that at this point, if you're not paying attention, you're just not doing it right. Hank brings up a good point. Past performance is no guarantee of future results. True. But as traders, you have to defer to that thing that generally expected to happen, that thing that has happened multiple times before. That's how you trade, guys. If you're not, then you're constantly doing something other than what the market generally does, right? So you're trying to be a contrarian just to be a contrarian, but you're trying to be a contrarian on what normally happens. At some point, maybe you're going to get it right. But so far, it's been correct, right? So far, it's been correct. So we're at that stage 3 area where we're testing that 20 MA as support, right? It's doing it back here previously. It pulled away. You see how price pulls away because again, this is the 20 MA. It's a lagging indicator, right? It's based on your past 20 periods. Price action's moving a lot faster than that going through here, so it pulls away in 2019. 2016, it was this breakout here. It came back, dropped right below it, kind of came out, retest again, and then there it goes, right? But again, the everything is the same, right? It always rallies up to that on this weekly cloud with that red cloud resistance is, and then it pulls back, and then it sets off on the big move, right? It's up here, pulls back, then it sets off on the big move, right? Goes up here, pulls back, then it sets off on the big move, right? So again, guys, I think still so many people, when they're in social media, and I get a lot of them that comment on posts that I make and whatever, but they're all extremely emotionally attached to their positions. And this is just a warning that you can't stay that way. You have to let go of that and move on. Because otherwise, you're going to be stuck here missing 100% rallies and more come out the bottom. I mean, look how long it took. Look how long it took to short this, right? It took a year just to get it down 70 somewhat percent. In about half that time, 5-6 months, we rallied more than that. It took you half the time to make 25% more rallying, buying the bottom here rather than selling the top up here. Does that make sense? So you can sit there and listen to all the BS, all the shorters out there are telling you, and all the nonsense, right? And how shorting is the way to go, and shorting is life, and shorting is nonsense at the end of the day. Yeah, I said it. When you miss the reality of what I'm saying here, you're going to get sucked into that thinking that's the only way to go. Shorting is much more difficult, in terms of trying to get the same type of return, right? You're going to make a lot less return for usually a longer period of time. Why? Does it make a whole lot of sense? And why does it do that? Because markets generally tend to move right and up, okay? Right and up. I know it's fashionable to call people names, bulltards and whatever you call bearish people, right? I know that's all fashionable online because everybody thinks they're so hip and cool by making fun of people and being rude to people and just being just generally not worth the time to even engage with. I mean, this is the thing, guys. Think about it. If you're online and your first course of action with anybody is to be an ass, that is your worth. That is your self-worth right there. You have a choice to be a decent human being, to be a good human being, create connections with people, or you can be an ass and have people just kind of sometimes outright, but a lot of times behind your back laughing and pointing and making fun of you. And yet they choose the latter. And I bring this up, guys, because I'm a big believer that you cannot be one way in life and be different in trading. And if you are that way in life, that's a negative way of living, right? That brings negative emotions. And if you're having negative emotions, it's difficult to be consistently profitable as a trader. You got everybody goes online and they go play on there, guys. And I'm telling you this from a guy who's almost 50 years old, right? Because to me, it doesn't make sense. I busted my butt to get where I am. I work hard to get to this level of success, right? And then I get young people coming and saying they want this level of success, yet they choose to go online and act the fool rather than put their time and energy into getting to where they want to get. If you're in your 20s, most of you will not understand what I just said because you're in that mindset. For most, not everybody, guys, this is generalization, but for most 20-year-olds, it's a time of partying, of goofing off, of all this stuff, which is why most people don't get very successful in life. They're always stuck in that. And then by the time they hit their 30s, well, now they've got a kid and a wife, a dead-end job that they're not really happy with. And that's it. And then they magically think, well, I can get into trading and it's going to make my life all better. Trading's not going to do anything for your life if you can't get your mindset right. And the reason you are where you're at today is because of your mindset. I cannot say it enough, guys. And if you want to argue with me, you're going to be talking to just blank air there because there is no room to argue that. I'm telling you right now, this is the way it is. And if you argue it, you're not accepting it. If you're not accepting, you're fighting it. If you're fighting it, you're not going to get it. You're just not going to get it, guys. Okay? Andrew wants to argue with me, say shorting Luna worked okay. Yeah. One, right? There's always an exception, guys. But generally, if you are in the markets, if you're an investor or a trader, generally markets tend to move to the right and up, which means you are going to make less money shorting, and it's going to be a more difficult proposition, especially let's say you're trying to short stocks, right? Where you have to be accepted to trade on margin, and then you have to get margin, all this other stuff, right? And you're limited, blah, 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 right? But we're talking about markets in general. We're talking about general movement of markets. We're not talking about one-offs or two-offs, guys, okay? Again, where is your mindset? This is what I'm talking about. Are you trying to argue with everything I'm saying, or are you listening? This is the thing, guys. And I don't mean this to be rude to you or anything, but I mean this because that is the reality. That is the part you're missing. If you are not consistently profitable, that's what you're missing. That mindset leads you into that kind of interaction, right? Yeah. And again, this isn't anybody in particular, right? I'm just talking in general. And the thing is, again, I say these things, and most people will not be open enough to understand and to jump in and to learn, right? They're going to fight it the entire way. They are not coachable. But not because they can't be coachable, but because they're choosing not to be coachable. Everything in life, guys, are choices, all right? And our choices are often determined by, environmental factors, social circles, stuff like that. But at the end of the day, it's still choices, right? We are not held back by our choices unless we choose to be. Are you open enough to listen and hear this and go, yes, okay, great, and then do something different? Or are you still stuck there, not getting it, arguing, right? Just with things in general, right? Does this make sense, guys? So, when you're talking about how do you be, how can you become successful in life? How can you become successful in trading? It begins and ends with your mindset. It really does, guys. I'm telling you, there's nothing. You can have somebody can have the absolute secret to trading, right? Something that somehow never loses, always produces 100% return in a week. Okay. By the way, guess what, guys? It doesn't exist. All right. It doesn't exist, but you can have that. Okay. But even if you learn that, if your mindset is not right, it doesn't matter. You're not going to be successful with it. You won't be. You'll be finding reasons not to follow, not to do what's required. You'll be making up excuses for why it's not your fault when things don't go your way. Life is about the decisions and choices that we make. You can start today. I don't care where you are in life right now. You can choose today to make your life different than where it is. But it's more than just talk, guys. You have to do the work. Consistency, discipline, focus. You have to have those things. And the other thing you need to have is a why. What is your why? I know it sounds cliche, everybody says it, but if you don't have something that drives you internally, then when times get tough, you're going to give up. And times will get tough, guys. Life is not, roses and cherries and whatever all the time. There are difficulties in life. But if you don't have that why, that legitimate, real why, that thing that keeps you going when you think you can't possibly keep going any further, if you don't have that, you're just a ticking time bomb waiting for that next time to come up that's a little bit difficult. And then you give up and then you say it didn't work. Or you blame everything else. It's always somebody else's or something else's fault. You can't grow that way, guys. Okay? All right. So, hey, if you're new, welcome to the show. We talk a lot about trader psychology, market psychology, stuff like that, because those are the bigger things than just showing you prices on charts and whatnot. But that said, let's look at some prices on charts. So this is, again, my CME futures chart here. This count, again, you'll notice right here, we had a higher low after this November swing low here at this terminal shakeout. We printed a higher low and then we rallied up, whereas in spot, we hit the low here and then we printed a slightly lower low and then we read up. So the counts were different coming into it, but they've now aligned. If my counts are correct, they've aligned. We've got a 1-2, 1-2 now across spot and CME. Okay? So, again, I think at the end of the day, guys, I don't think you should be thinking about lower down unless you close below this kind of 25,000, 25,500 area right here, right? It's really just kind of this thing. I don't know, what is that? That's almost 24,000. That kind of area right there, okay? Until you're breaking down through this and you close below it, I don't think there's any reason you should even be concerned about further down. Because as you can see, this was a significant area of resistance, and we broke out through it on large candle spread, large spike of volume, and we've just come back and retested this area of support. That's all we're doing right now. That's it, guys. Okay? That's it. So you got everybody out there looking at their 15-minute time frames, they just look right here, right? And they're like, oh, it has to go down. Or, again, they're emotionally bearish, and they've been bearish since down here, and we've rallied 100%, 6 months, and they're still bearish. But if you just step back and look at this, it should be pretty clear that, okay, unless we're breaking down impulsively through this and closing below this area here, there's absolutely no reason to start thinking about lower down. Now, if you do that, then you can start thinking lower down. But even then, you've still got these other areas that you still have to get through. So there's still no guarantee it's going to go down where you want it to go down, right? But right now, if you're shouting bearishness, I don't think you're paying attention, honestly. The big reason they give you is like, oh, look, it didn't get above the resistance. Well, no, but before you were saying, oh, look, it didn't get above the resistance here. Broke out, right? Here we are. We've pulled back. We've been going, we made this little higher high here, but effectively, this is kind of sideways here since, I guess about a month now, or 2 months now, since about March 20th or so. You have this sideways, pop up, right back down, sideways, pop down, right back up, sideways, right in the same area, right? Effectively, we have been sideways for 2 months, holding above this area here. Why in the hell are you going to be bearish? It makes no sense, guys. There is nothing you can jump on there and say, oh, well, this one thing. Because I've shown you 30 things over the last few months that say that the bottom's likely in. Because it's the same things that have happened every time before, right? So if you're pig-headed, right, that's what we're going to be. If you're pig-headed and you think it has to go down lower, and you'll probably get offended if I say that, and you deal with it, guys. Deal with it. I'm just calling it the way I see it. Pig-headed means you're being thick. You're not really paying attention, right? I mean, of everything I've shown, this thing right here should say even more than all of it right here, right? That's all you need. Of course, you're going to get rejected resistances when you rally back up through a downtrend. Of course you are, guys. That's the way it works. You hit resistance, you pull back, you grab some more, you break through resistance. Look what happened here. We rallied up into resistance, pulled back, broke out, into resistance, pull back, broke out, into resistance, pull back, broke out, into resistance. Jesus. Stop listening, people that are like, oh, well, we didn't get above here. Holy crud, guys. That's the way it works. That's the way it works. Generally. Sometimes you can rocket through it. But most of the time, when you come up to an area of resistance, you're going to hit it, you're going to pull back, and then you're going to push through, whether you're coming down or whether you're going up. Does that make sense, guys? Tenacious B, what's up? He says, sometimes difficult to differentiate between consolidation and weakness. Yeah. No, it's definitely not easy, right? A lot of this stuff isn't necessarily easy, right? Trading is simple. It's not easy. A lot of times, the reason that we have difficulty differentiating between what you're saying, consolidation. So basically, in this case, reaccumulation, right? Is just a lack of understanding of how that is determined, what you can look at, right? So again, Wyckoff is a huge bonus, guys. It's nothing you're going to learn overnight. You're not going to learn. I'm going to be honest with you. Most of you, I mean, like probably 99.8%, are not going to be able to learn Wyckoff correctly and effectively by looking up free resources online, by looking at the schematics. You're not going to do it. Okay? You've got to get into somewhere where it's being taught, where you can go in there and learn it and understand what are the phases. Why are the phases occurring? What are the labels? Why are the labels there? Right? What are you trying? Because when you do that, then you start understanding what is being accomplished in the range, or what is attempting to be accomplished, and how that's being gone about. Right? But guess what? Here's the thing. You can do it for decades and still get it wrong sometimes. Because we're human beings. We are, by nature, we are inherently fallible, right? We're going to make mistakes because we're human beings. But a lot of times, again, that lack of being able to differentiate between it is because of a lack of understanding, first of all, of the range itself, right? And second of all, of market structure and how markets tend to move and why, right? Most of your favorite traders out there, honestly, have no clue of these things. You can learn them. I learned them, right? You can learn them, right? But most people out there don't have a real grasp of understanding it because it doesn't happen overnight. It takes a while. And a part of that learning is actually going through the process over and over and over again. So you get comfortable with understanding how price moves in those areas and why and where to look for. When I was calling over here, when I was saying, listen, this is the beginning of accumulation over here in June, I got a lot of scoffing, right? And then when we broke down here, they're like, oh yeah, look, it broke down. But it's because you don't understand how accumulation happens, right? You don't understand what a terminal shakeout is, why and where it happens, and how it plays out and how it goes. But what has happened? Everything happened. I said would happen where I said it would happen, right? As we went through it on these rallies and on these things, right? So you can be better than the traders that you guys are, or the people that say they're traders that you're following online. You can be a lot better. Most of these guys out there are one-hit wonders, right? They've got one thing that works in one type of environment, basically. Rarely do they have it where it works all around, right? And what I mean by works around is not that they get it right all the time. It's just that, they consistently get it right. Right? So you guys need to be careful with that out there. You want to make sure that you're putting yourself in the best position to be successful as traders. If you're hanging out with a group out there, right? If you're hanging out with a group of people online, and when somebody new comes in, and that person has like a product or something, right? Like a coaching or a course or something, right? And the first word that comes out of the people you're around is grifter, you're around the wrong people. They've already made up their mind. They are already staunchly emotionally attached to their feelings. And there's nothing that anybody can do that's going to change that. They don't understand, right? And they never will. And to me, that's one of the funniest things. People go, oh, well, trading, if you're out there, if you have a company that sells services, right? Sells coaching or sells courses or something, right? And they're like, oh, immediately grifter, right? But yet, again, I bring this up so many times. If you want to be a better athlete, what do? You train with a coach. If you want to get better when you're working out at the gym or something, what do you get? You get a trainer, a coach, right? If you want to become better at an instrument, most of the time you're going to get you a teacher, a coach, right? It's so silly. But a lot of, especially in social media, is just because there are a lot of scammers out there. It is what it is. But you need to understand that the people that you hang around determine your success in life. Not because they determine it directly, but the fact that you choose to continue to hang out around them when they're not doing the things they need to do to be successful means that you will not do the things you need to do to be successful. Do you hear what I just said there, guys? The group of people that you hang around, whether it's online or in person or whatever, the group that you hang around, the people that you choose to interact with on a routine basis, if they are not doing what needs to be done to get the success that they say that they want to get, and you're choosing to hang around them, it will keep you from doing the things you need to do to be successful. If you take anything from the show today, take that. Again, most are not going to get that. Most are still young, that sometimes watch the show are young, and they haven't gotten through that stage of life yet to get to understand. Some people are fortunate enough to start early. I was not fortunate enough to start early. I screwed around a lot of my 20s. So again, if I'm talking about this, I'm talking about because I've been there. I've gone through this. I know. There is nobody out there who knows more than me. And when it comes to that, I know. I've been there. What I mean knows more than me is knows it because having been through it so strongly, right? So if I'm telling you that, pay attention and listen. Take heed. Are you serious about being successful or are you not? It really is that simple. And if you're not, then stop watching me or anybody else because it's not going to do anything for you. You will never get where you want to go. Okay? Let me see here. Windy City Assassin, what's up, man? I haven't seen you in a while. He says, people are trading, what do you say? People are trading ordinal NFTs, liquidity rotating all the time. Yeah, I know. Bitcoin got that NFT bit to it, right? Ordinals. People getting on there. I know I went to transfer some Bitcoin like a few weeks back, and I think it was like something like $60 or $70 to change. I was like, are you kidding me? I don't think so. Starting to feel those, not quite those Ethereum gas fees, but man, it's there, right? So yeah. So anyway, still looking for updates. There's nothing going on here that even has me thinking that we have to even start thinking lower. Do I have targets? Sure. I've given you those targets, right? We look at if they're coming down, but reality is that's just there because you need to have some points of consideration in case it does happen. But I'm not sitting here going, oh my God, it's going to go down. It's going to go down. It doesn't make any sense, right? Let me see here. Let's look at this, guys. Look at this one right here. Litecoin against Bitcoin on the daily. Look at that. Look at that. Bullish SFP down here on May 8th. Boom, shakalaka, right? I don't even know how far that is up there. Off that low. Look at that. Almost 27%. If you were watching this, guys, and you have this swing low over here back in March 22nd, and then you have this one over here because it's a daily chart here on May 8th. So, a month and a half later, and you see this wick below it and back up, there is no reason that you shouldn't be taking a chance on that. That's a higher confidence trade. You should have been in on that. Let me see here. Stop loss right below that swing low. Man, minimally, you should have been on that for like this channel EQ here. That's a 5R trade, 5.16. The pivot gets you 6.5. The range high gets you almost 11.3. I mean, there's no reason. This is what we call a higher confidence trade, right? And by the way, you can also notice that from right around this area to this area here where you're making the lower low, overall demand momentum was building. It's not quite bullish divergence, but it's the same general idea. You've got demand momentum building up as you printed your bullish SFP. There's no reason, if you were watching this, that you shouldn't have been long on that, right? So it looks pretty good. Let me see here. So again, we've got kind of this kind of resistance up here, but man, oh man, this is a great move up through here. We've broken out higher above here. Again, I would look forward to, to rally up toward this. Locally here, probably, let me see here. Looks like 1, 2, 3, 4. So we'll probably get a 5 up here, and then we'll pull back, and then we'll break out higher. But this daily pivot area should hold this support if it gets that low. I think we're headed up higher. Good challenge these highs up here around 0.0047, 0.0048 maybe kind of area. Minimally. So yeah. So that's Litecoin, Bitcoin on the daily there. Let me see here. What does the weekly look like? Oh yeah, look at the weekly, guys. That weekly, another great bullish SFP. Look, you had bullish divergence. Not quite bullish divergence. It was starting at this previous one. But again, same idea, right? You got lower prices, you got bullish momentum picking up, and boom, rallying up. You're getting larger candle spreads, bullish engulfing. You see volume expansion as we got into this. I mean, there's not a lot of there's not a lot in there to say you shouldn't be in it. I think we're probably rallying up toward the R1 pivot up here, this green range. Right around 0.0054 to 0.00575 kind of area. I think we hit that, and then we pull back to the pivot area, whether it's just shy of that here, right around 0.0039, or it's all the way down to the pivot, just kind of this area, and then I think we turn up and continue higher on that. But that weekly does not look bad at all. So yeah, and it's just getting going. If we look right here, Litecoin USD on the weekly, this is our range right here. Deviation to the top, deviation to the bottom. And then look what happens on your next low here. You got a long wick here. The first one, boom, back up, comes back down, catches a bid without breaking down below that swing low. So printing a higher low. Doji, bullish engulfing, breaking out impulsively through the weekly pivot. I mean, geez, oh whiz, guys. How much more bullish can you get on that, right? Ultimately, there's still your range though, right? But again, even with this range here, you've got, slightly higher high, breaks down, gives us a much higher low. And here we go, breaking out, trying to go again. You can see here on the Stochh RSI, we've dipped down oversold. We've broken out and threatening to cross bullishly this week. RSI here kind of hit neutral right around 49.50, and it's trying to rally back up off that. I mean, there's just not a whole lot going in there that looks bearish on that. So, I mean, for me, I'm looking higher still on it overall. Looking higher still on it. Let me see here. So, yeah, I mean, Litecoin looking good on both those things there. What else do we have? Man, Google been doing a thing, right? Google doing a thing here. I think we had a fourth wave swing low down here back in November. It looks like we've got a leading diagonal coming out of here, which may be complete, But if we can break out a bit higher, I think we hit the EQ up here of this blue supply structure right around $129.35 or so. Right now we're pretty close to that weekly R1 pivot as it is. So whether it goes from here or it pushes up there a bit further and then comes back, that should complete wave one. And we have a wave two coming back down toward this weekly pivot area. We get that high volume node sitting down there right around 105 or 106. Weekly pivots right around 108. So that $2 range right there would be where I'd look for it to pull back and then break out higher there. Again, the idea that we've got this this kind of ABC for 1, 2, and then we've got ABC for 3, 4, and then we've got ABC for 5 here, expanding wedge here, right? So yeah. I'm Deuce. What's up? He says long-term pattern target for Litecoin is around 2,000. Narrative, Litecoin is not a security. Yeah, but honestly, I mean, I think Litecoin's got further to go as well. But I want to just always caution people against narratives, because narratives most often are stories that we tell to support our bias, our emotional bias, right? And I'm not saying that can't be an incorrect narrative. What I'm saying, though, is while we often look for narratives, the important thing is to make sure that we aren't putting our trading based on just the narrative, right? Or even based on the narrative. The narrative is like the secondary thing that you can kind of just lay over on top and say, okay, well, it fits. But you're really doing your trading based off what's going on those charts. Because, again, otherwise, as human beings, we tend to get even I get emotional, guys. I'm not a robot. I tend to get emotional. And so, you've always got to be careful. Even when you've been, I keep telling you guys this, even when you've been in the market for decades, you still are susceptible to emotions, emotional trading. And so you want to be careful with that, no matter how long you've been in. This is me telling you, almost 30 years doing this, that it still comes to me. So I still have to be aware of it. So that way you, who potentially hasn't had, as many years, maybe you've just came in, maybe you've been in a few years, but just a reminder that even once you've been in for, a good bit of time, it's still going to be there. It's nothing that ever actually goes away. If you ever come in a trade and you go, yes, emotions are bad, I need to get them to go away. And after I do this for a while, they'll go away. They won't go away, guys. They just become easier to manage, not as difficult to manage. Or, because you become more aware of them and you see that what you're doing there, right? Yeah, Amdu says, I hate narratives, just giving it because retail likes narratives. Yeah, by the way, guys, if I ever respond with you to something you're saying there, and maybe you don't like what I'm saying, maybe you feel like you're being personally attacked, that's generally not the case. I use it as a great chance to really talk about something that you brought up that's important to talk about. So I appreciate when you guys are chatting in here and leaving these ideas and these things, because it allows me to then focus on things that people need to know. That's what this is all about, right? This channel is not about just giving you charts and going, listen, this is where price is going. It's about, listen, I'm going to tell you what you need to do to be successful as a trader. I'm going to tell you time and time again. I'm going to repeat things multiple times, because maybe you're not ready today. Maybe you're not ready next week. Maybe you're ready in a year. Maybe you just got here. It's your first time in. And that just, and you're actually listening and you go, holy crap, yes. Yeah. That's what it's all about, guys. So yeah. Let me see here. Never take it personally. That's right, Andrew. Good. Ryan, what's up, buddy? He says, still have 6 Bitcoin miners. Don't even think about filling cold storage in the background as part of a long-term DCA strategy with a 10+ year time horizon. Yeah. See, there's another thing, guys. Make sure if you're investing that you understand what you're doing. Make sure that you've got that in focus, because if you're an investor and you've got your reasons lined out for investing in whatever you're investing in, if you're hanging around crypto, Twitter, and other social media, shorter term traders, they can often knock you out of your confidence. So if you're doing 10 years or something, there's no reason you should be looking at anything under the weekly, monthly charts. I mean, it should always be weekly, monthly at the least. Nobody cares. You shouldn't care about what's happening anything less than the weekly. And even with the weekly, it's just suspect. because you've got such a long time horizon. Does that make sense, guys? Data says I go even as far as to say use the emotion during trading. If you're feeling good, then don't. And if you're feeling bad, then lower your position size. Yeah, again, guys, it's not just negative emotions. It's also being really positive, really excitable, right? Something good happened to you. You asked your girl to marry you, and she said yes. You just got news you're having a baby. You're excited. Yes. These really, because what it does is it takes the natural average of where your emotions stay, and it pops them up, right? It takes you to that deviation, right? It deviates from your norm significantly and quickly. And that will tend to make you see things better than what they maybe are. Okay? So much the same way that feeling really negative, really bad will often make you see things worse than what they really are. The same happens the other way as well. If you're feeling any real influx of emotion, you should step back and take a break until that goes away. Because otherwise you have to fight that as you're trying to trade there. If people deleted Twitter for a week, I guarantee their trading would improve. Crypto Twitter is mostly noise, Ryan says. Yeah, it's a tough thing, guys. There's too many people in social media that think that they need to be heard just because they can be heard. And in doing so, think they have something to say when they really don't, about a subject matter that they really don't have, any experience in. But a lot of times it can sound convincing, especially if you don't know, right? So you want to be careful out there, guys. Nope, about to jump over the DXY right now. Let's see, where are we at? Where's my DXY chart? Oh, here we go. Man, yeah. So I was talking about, I posted this chart earlier when we were in this candle, I believe. Again, we have this heavy short selling going on here. These are the futures, by the way, guys. If you're like, how does the DXY have volume? You can't trade the DXY. Yeah, you can. You can trade the futures on the ICE exchange, okay? But yeah, and so we got this move down on this heavy volume. And it was a breakdown through that pivot support there. So important to watch. If we're going to rally from here, I'd look for a rally up into this kind of range up here, right? Kind of like that 103.2 to 103.3 kind of area. I would look for a rejection in that to head down further. If we jump out here to the hourly hasn't reached oversold. Look at all that volume coming in again on the top there, right? Stochc RSI crossing back bearishly back down into oversold. RSI still not there. 4 hour hit down into oversold here, but again, a lot of large candles here. You see volume kind of expanding through this. You can see that where we're getting this volume as we're hitting this is just the previous kind of resistance area, right? Expect a bounce. If it's coming down further, you're going to look here at the 102, short term 102, 6.5, 102.7 kind of area, short term. We're jumping out to the daily. Here's the daily. So what have we done? Well, basically, we've rallied right here, guys. Support, resistance, support, resistance, well, it's not quite a bearish engulfing. It's an inside bar right now. It looks like it gapped down. And so potentially an inside bar here, though. We would look for a possible reversal. If we continue going up, though, we should expect to get stopped in this kind of area up here, this 104.3 basically to 105.85. In that range is where we should expect to get stopped. Now, if we're breaking out through that, then things start getting interesting. But for right now, we've hit the low volume node here, and we're getting rejected. If we can lose this support right here at 102.04, I think that says that we're headed down here, and we'll break down lower, and this just becomes a 1 and a 2. As you can see, the retracement is just beyond 50%. It's a solid wave too, right? Yeah. Let me see here. Let me see. I got a question here. Bryce, what's going on, man? It says, have you taken a look at the Mighty Frog Pepe in a bit? Markets are interesting times all around. Yeah, let me see what we got here. I think we've got something here. What do we got? Let's kind of get rid of some stuff here. So we were looking at maybe that we had this descending wedge going on here. But as you can see, we've kind of fluttered around it here. So not what we're looking for there. We've pulled back. Let me kind of get this out of the way here a little bit. On this recent rally, we've pulled back just about, it's about 61.8, right? I would want to see how this resolves locally here. If I look here, it looks like we got 1, 2, and then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 gives us 3, 4, 5. So it looks like we got 5 up. And so we look for an ABC down. So could be complete at this support here, right around the 61.8, just right above it. But I want to see how this resolves. It's not necessarily an overly clean count. It does look like it could be maybe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then this would be ABC down and then ABC up. And then we'd be 1, 2, 3, 4. And we should probably get a 5. But so you see how close that gets you here if that's the case? So I'm not overly excited about that. I think it may have a little bit further to go down here. If we're breaking down, I'm looking potentially down here at the 70.5, which is right around 1358. 13.5, 1358, right around there maybe. Let me see here. If this is actually a 4, yeah, see, 13.567 or so would be the, if this is a wave 4 here. So if we looked at maybe this is like a, let me see here. Yeah, if this is maybe like a 1, 2, 3, 4, and we get a 5 here. And that gives us an A, and then we got a B, and then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, potentially 5 coming down there. Yeah, I could look at that. For me, I mean, again, it's just really kind of crazy. Let me zoom out of here a little bit. This is the 1 hour. Let me zoom out a little bit. Yeah, the 4 hour, again, we've got kind of this support right here at this previous resistance. You see this? I'll pull this initial range resistance over here. Let's see. Oops. Okay. Yeah. And so, again, we're kind of finding support here. We've got a wick down into this demand right here. But, getting around that 70.5 kind of brings you into this demand block right here, just prior to this kind of cluster of support down here. So I definitely want to see what's going on in this area. I want to see, can we get this rally up? It's possible. I mean, when we zoom out to this larger time frame, this 4 hour, it could be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then maybe ABC is a W, and then an X, and then ABC is a Y. So again, could be done. I would be looking for a breakout above this swing high here at 16,164,000. I'd be looking for a breakout above that, and then I'd be looking up here at around this kind of, if it's this week, this kind of 18,8300 area. Daily, it's just not enough really to look at daily. We have this great kind of move here with a lot of volume coming up. Nice wick down right here into support. See that? Right here at the R1 pivot. But if we're coming off the top here, I mean, this looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, right? And so if it's 5 coming down, then we get 3 up and 5 more back down, to finish out. Can you get back to that 4 hour there? So since this looks like 5 here, if this is 5 down and this is 5, we got 3, we'll get 5 up, probably around 28.13 kind of area. And then we'd look for finish, that would be wave A, you get wave B, and you get wave C coming down a little bit lower. And then we would look for the real kind of pump up. Okay? So, yeah. So that's what I'm kind of looking on there. Okay. It's just sideways, kind of sitting on top of this previous support. Again, looking for potentially a move up and then move down and then the move up there. Let me see here. Nvidia has been going up there, guys. Look at Nvidia. You can see that you've got this high volume node right here. In case you can't see it, we've got the the daily pivot right here around 273 or so. See it right there. This looks kind of wedgy going up here, right? And so, again, rallying this up here, potentially just a 1, 2, 3, 4, working on 5, finishing out. Continued rally gives us an initial target of this R5 pivot on the daily, which is about 326.5. Further, might give us the EQ of this blue supply structure up there around 342. But then I would expect price to come back down toward the weekly R1 pivot here. At least. Okay? At least. Let's say, just from where we're at right now. Just from where we're at right now, 61.8 will get you back to the weekly pivot. So we look at the initial here where this very large high volume node is. If we lose that, then we can look down here, at 50 and 61.8, depending on whether, it's from right here or it does make it up there to that area. But generally we'd look at, kind of this 266 area, 225, and then 187. Just real quick draws on there. That's where I would be looking once we get there. And I want to see a breakdown through this support here. This kind of support there. But yeah, man, Nvidia kind of moving it up there, right? Nvidia, again, I'm not a big fan of head and shoulders patterns, but this one's probably about as clean as you can get it. You have this right here. Right here. Right there. Again, you've got this, it moves out, breaks down, retests, continues up higher there. Based on that, you've got a target right up there. So yeah, basically right up there around that R5 pivot area, right up there around pattern target of about, is that 330? Yeah, about $330, $331 based on that. So I think it's got a little bit more strength, but I think we're probably nearing the end and it's going to get a good pullback on that. Let me see here. What else do we got? Oh, Pyre, guys. I've been talking about Pyre, right? In this range. Been talking about this for a bit. And look at this right here. Getting a great rally here off that swing low. And we were looking at, looks like 1, 2, 3, 4. If so, 5 should target the pivot here right around $3.66, 67 cents. Would look for a pullback and then a breakout to head up higher there. Wave 3 locally here has a minimum expected target of $5.60. So, if it's me trading this, you can go for a local trade here, but really I'm looking at that target up here, this wave 3. And so I'm watching for the rejection around the pivot area on the daily and the pullback. And then I'm looking for a reversal off that pullback to kind of go long for that wave 3 target up there. Quick look at PLTR. I don't know if it's ever a quick look with me, is it? Let me see here. PLTR. Haven't looked at this in a bit. What do we got going on? Yeah, a couple of great looking candles. Look at that on the weekly. It went a little bit lower than my target here. But nonetheless, the idea was, hey, we're going up. Looks like we hit the 70.5 retracement. So we got ABC down, and then we got 1, 2. This is probably wave 3. So we'll get a 4 we'll probably get a 4 here to the pivot, and then a 5 up toward that R1, which gives us then 1, 2, 3 looking up. Let me see here. Let me do this. I like to keep all my charts separate. So that way when I pull a chart up and I say, listen, back on this day, we were looking at this, you can go, okay, yeah, it was, because the date stamp stays the same on it. Oops. Yes, the 19th. let's see what we got going on here. So yeah, because when you go up here, again, I keep my dates on there, whatever. But if you go and look at the load layout, it tells the last time it was updated. But yeah, looks like 5 up, 3 down. It looks like we're doing a 3 of 3 now. Maybe a flat correction right here. Let's see. You can see we've hit the 3618. You see you got good volume coming out of this breakout too. Because it's the 3618, it's potentially the end of wave 3 there. This is all in the weekly, by the way. If so, it gives us a little bit of a pullback here to, look at that, 38.2. Like I said, right here back to the pivot. And then gives you wave 5. Let's see here, just a bit higher up here, right around 1371. That'll get you wave 5 of 3. Again, we'd look for another pullback to the pivot, and then we'd look for a target just beyond the R1. And then guess what? If this plays out like we have it here, it may not. We don't have guarantee that wave 3 is done yet, the interior wave 3. But 38.2, a little bit above the pivot there. And then again, like I said, right around 1123 or so. Gets us a wave 5 just a bit higher up here, around 1530. And then that should give us, if that's 5 up, that's 1. That should then give us a wave 2 at 50% at least at the pivot there. See? Right there. And minor. So generally kind of looking at that. So if we're going to continue to pull back here, which it looks like we are, I want to see a pullback to the weekly pivot. At that point, I would look for a reason to go long, a reversal up there toward about 1372. If we get a rejection there, we'll pull back just shy of the pivot again. Look for a reason to go long. Target up there just beyond the weekly R1. About 1533, and then we'd pull back here one more time. And what does that do? That has all this overlap, builds a base right on top of this previous base. You see that? So you're building your stair steps up. Does that make sense? Chess Coach Joe says, of course, PLTR has decided to pump after dropping for so long. Is this some type of short squeeze, or is PLTR really making moves now? Well, my count here, I've got 5 waves down. So, and this is out of this whole, this whole chart from back here in September of 20, right? The higher volume node is here with the point of control, the POC right here at that $8.30 area, which was what was providing support generally, resistance, and we've popped out large spike of volume, large candle spreads. That should suggest that that the bottom's in there. And so again, especially if we get the rally up into the R1 pivot area and then the pull back to the pivot and then break out higher, there's no reason you should be thinking about lower at that point. Yeah. So I think it's looking pretty legit overall on this. But we'll see. There's no guarantees, guys. There are no guarantees in trading other than you're going to lose money at some point. But when we look at the things here, it's looking pretty good. It's looking pretty great there so far. So yeah. I'd be looking to buy because the trend is up, guys. You should be looking to buy the dip, the pullback, not looking to short the rejection because the trend is up. You got your swing low, swing high, higher low, higher high. This is an uptrend. It'll be even more. Well, we bopped out above wave 4. So we had a downtrend coming off the all-time high, and we've broken above that most recent lower high. So that suggests that the downtrend is complete. And we are now that we've got this established uptrend here. So yeah. But as always, Don't just jump in all gung ho without any risk management. Risk management is what you need, guys. I don't care how great you think of yourself, and we all need to have a good thought about ourselves. We all need to be confident about ourselves and our abilities, but I don't care how good you think you are about things. Don't jump into trading thinking, oh my God, I'm so good that I'm just going to get into this without using risk management. You're going to join all the millions of other people who have lost all their money in the markets and then be upset and tell everybody how it was the crypto whale's fault or how it was Wall Street's fault or how it's always somebody else's fault, right? But yeah, so just something to check there. Let me see here. Did I have another chart? XRP, guys. Look at XRP. Look at how good this chart looks. You say, oh, it doesn't look good. Yeah, it does. Look what we got here, guys. Understand what we're looking at. You see this support area here? We managed it, right? We've broken it above the most recent, so we've got a low, high, higher low, higher high, potentially a higher low, just retesting the range of support. By the way, notice the range support is right here again on the high volume node, okay? So again, we can even continue pulling this back. Look, all the way back here. This is pretty bullish here. This is the 3-day. Notice we've just crossed bullishly, getting ready, threatening to break out of oversold here. We broke out on a large candle spread, large spike of volume through the descending resistance. We want to see some continued impulsive breakout through that 3-day pivot as well. But I think it's setting up good. Weekly's pulled about, but it's starting to curl back over. Weekly is this large bullish engulfing candle here. Now, again, you want to take it step by step, right? So, I mean, if you're thinking here, my first thought is if you're long in here, you're looking right about the weekly pivot. And if you can break out above this swing high here at 0.58479, then you're looking at, potentially R1 pivot, and then basically right here at around 0.855 or so. You got to do it in steps, though. You can't just, just the one thing there and think you're going to be all right with it. I think it's possible that this could be, still be in progress. So maybe like an ABC is 1, 2, ABC is 3, 4, and then ABC is 5. So, it's possible this is just a leading diagonal here. In this case, could be done here. But if you do break down lower, I'd be looking for probably, we've got this red support line here. And that's where I'd be looking to target. And basically, it's just the range EQ kind of area. Maybe right here around 0.34 to 0.36 kind of area would be the target if we rallied up here, rejected, and then came back down lower. But if we're breaking out through here, looking for a break above the swing high, and I think it sets us up to go higher. And so if this is then a 1, 2, that would potentially set us up with wave 3 up here at 0.8885. Minimum expected wave 5 at $1 on XRP there. Okay? Do I think that they already have a decision in court with XRP? Maybe they will use this case for new regulation. I don't think they have. I mean, you're going to know when they have a decision. I think at the end of the day, I think XRP wins or Ripple wins at the end of the day, either way, whether they actually win in court or not, because it sets a precedent. Now there's something that people can start using as guidelines going, okay, well, now we've got some idea of what's okay and what's not and how things go with that. I think a lot of people miss that. They're just like, oh my God, either they're going to win or they're going to lose, right? But again, with crypto, it's all about regulation right now, guys. And it really doesn't matter what the regulation is. It's just about regulation. Is there regulation? That's the big issue. Once there's regulation, then there's a playing field, there's rules, and all of a sudden money can start coming in like you wouldn't believe, right? I'm telling you guys, institutions are still sitting on the sidelines waiting to get in. Y'all are like, a lot of people are like, oh no, after FTX and all the other nonsense, they're not. No, they are ready to get in. They are. But, again, we really kind of need some clarity, some court decisions, regulation, Congress to pass something. We need something. So yeah. Um, yeah, well, the $1, I don't know that it's bold. It just says if this is a leading diagonal, and this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so it's 1 and 2. Well, naturally your wave 5 is up here. So this is 1, 2. Wave 5 is $1. No, it's bold. It's just that's the projection if that's 5 count up there, and the wave 2 is done here. So yeah, I don't know that I'd call that bold. Anyway, yeah. So there it is, guys. Appreciate y'all stepping in. Hey, I'm going to release. I've got something set to release later today. I recorded a free trading strategy that I'm going to put out there for you guys. I'll post it on social media and everything. But it's set to release here probably in a few hours. Sometime today. I don't remember when I said it to release, but it's going to automatically release. You guys will see it on, especially on Twitter. So be sure to jump on that. It's free. And you can see, again, especially if you're newer or you're struggling or looking for ways to kind of understand how to trade a little bit more, it'll give you a way to look at it with rules. It's a strategy with rules that if you follow the rules, you should be okay. All right, guys. So there you go. That'll do it. As always, remember, the only thing you control in the market is how much you lose. So please keep working on risk management. Don't forget, guys, I've got a 5-day challenge coming up here in just a few weeks. As we get more information together and get it all put together, I'll let you guys know. It'll be free. You'll learn a whole lot about trading with it. So be sure to jump on that if you get the chance as well. There's going to be limited seating just because it's, these things don't allow you to have unlimited seating, right? Yeah, so it'll be there. But that's it. So hopefully you guys are doing all right. You guys are trading safe out there. Again, I hope you think a lot about what I talked about at the beginning about being successful, about being coachable, about doing the things that you have to do to get where you want to go. It's really easy to sit there and talk a lot and to say, yes, I definitely want to be this person. Yes, I definitely want to have this kind of wealth. Yes, I definitely want to create this kind of income. Yes, I definitely want this kind of lifestyle. But it does involve work, guys. It does involve work. And you can't get there unless you recognize that and you really do put in that work. But again, it's more than just busy work. It's more than doing things wrong consistently. It's about being coachable and open enough for when somebody says, listen, these are the things that you need to pay attention to. These are things you need to do, that you accept that and you do that. Because until you do, it doesn't matter how great whatever strategy or system or whatever somebody's trying to teach you. It'll never be profitable for you in any kind of consistent way until you get yourself to that point, okay? So you're the only one out there holding yourself back. I believe that you can do it. I really do. I believe you've got the ability in yourself to do it. You just have to believe in that as well and let go of all the posturing and the pride and everything else and just go, damn it, I want to be at a certain point in my future, and this is how I need to get there. All right? As always, remember, the only thing you control in the markets is how much you lose. So please keep working on that risk management. I do apologize with what happened with Fibbo there. If we can't get this figured out, I'll just probably move to StreamYard or something like that. And then we'll have him back on, okay? So again, my apologies. That kind of sucked, but nothing I can do about it. You guys trade safe, and I will see y'all next time. Take care.